94% of women that are incarcerated have experienced physical or sexual abuse. The system has failed them in being able to help them resolve issues, and a lot of people have been able to take issues into their own hands, or people have committed offenses that has been the result of them being abused that have not been addressed. So what we're doing is we're looking at a system and punishing victims that have actually experienced the system, and the system has failed them, and by incarcerating them, they're not fixing the problem, it's just further perpetuating the problem.
I was in high school. I always wanted to be a cheerleader. I always wanted to be in technology. I wanted to write books,
Okay.
and that's what I wanted to do. And when I was a teenager, my name was I always wanted a Corvette, and I called myself Princess.
All
you
right.
know, yeah. And
Okay.
then I got a hold to the drugs.
Mm.
And they turned me on to the drug. I started smoking marijuana at first. It started out with drinking because I was raised in an alcoholic, violent environment, you
Mhm.
know, and we didn't have but grandma made sure we ate, but we
Mhm.
didn't have a lot. But I didn't know we didn't have a lot back then,
Yeah.
and so I was in high school and I was doing good until I got introduced to drugs. It's a lot of innocent people in prison.
Mhm.
I've done 21 years off this life sentence,
Mm.
and for $40 worth of crack. And back then when I was sentenced, it was a ratio crack versus cocaine. Crack was in the black neighborhoods, cocaine was in the white neighborhoods. So if they got caught with cocaine, you know, they got lesser sentences. And
Mm.
crack. And I was in Atlanta Journal. They did a front page on my case in 1994. It was called Unequal Justice.
Mm.
It was 429 people serving life for drugs, and 419 of us was black, and
Mm.
90% of us was users. How do you expect us to make it?
Mm.
Because a lot of people, we're not given a chance, so we feel all these different emotions, and you know, because when you're in prison, you're locked up, you're holding a lot of stuff in because you don't have an outlet. And then they say to get counseling in jail. You don't get no counseling.
Mm.
They might see you, come out and see how you doing for 5, 10 minutes. There's no counseling because we have emotions and we have stuff way back from our childhood. We have to deal with stuff, the abuse, the molestation, all the
Mm.
things that we went through childhood, and we don't get any services while we're in prison. And just give us a chance. Give us the resources that we need to get the help that we need
Yes.
because we have problems. I mean, we have issues, and you know, and medication is not always the answer. Mental health medication is not the answer. Some of us need therapy. We need somebody to talk to. We need places where we can go and feel safe and not have to worry about, am I gonna have somewhere to sleep?
Yes.
Do I have to go out in the street? A lot of people return to crime because they don't have resources, and they get out and they try, and all the doors are being closed. Open doors for us. So
Yes.
when we do get out, we can be successful, we can prosper. Just open doors for us, and not make it so hard for us.
current issues right now in Georgia with the parole process of lack of transparency is what I will say mostly. When you're waiting on parole here in Georgia, they always say that parole is a privilege and not a right. Okay, with that being said, Georgia has no transparency. They have no set date as to when your parole or your prison sentence will end. So they will start off with guidelines. The guidelines are supposed to determine how many months that you will serve off of a sentence, but still, Georgia has the right to go off the guidelines. When they do that, they'll send you a letter in the first beginning and say, hey, we're going off of your guidelines and you will have to do X amount of days. Once those X amount of days or months are done and completed, then they'll come back with a letter and say you're not fit for parole, or the other known and common excuse that they make for not releasing you is you're not fit for society, or what's the other one? Due to the nature of your crime, which will never change. That will never change. This is something that happened in the past, so that will never change. So due to the nature of your crime, you cannot be released. So the transparency in having a set date, if you go to Alabama or any of the other states, they will have, when you walk in the door, you know the exact dates you will be released. Georgia needs to have that type of policy.
I feel that they should look into the person. Like if you are interviewing me and say I'm coming up for parole, get to really know what this person have done, changed, learned. I know they go by with the prison right in there, but majority of the time it's not what your counselor right, it's what the officer, the ones that really knows, the ones that's changed. They know how this person, not this person anymore. They need to really just speak to the people and let us them come out and talk to us and let us give our opinion, even though they do come out and they do their interviews, but it really don't work that way. They go back and say, well, maybe we this person should get out there, and at the end of the day they don't. They really don't know nothing about it. They don't know the education that we got. They don't know the trades that we tried to get in. They don't know none of this. They just go what's on the screen, and that's not fair. Y'all just got people just sitting in there. They just sitting just because the family don't like you. Just sitting. That's not fair. But me, I never stopped. I just kept bettering myself, educating myself, keep the trouble people away from me, being a positive role model for all the young kids that was coming in there getting 30 years and feel like they ain't got nothing to live for. So I feel I put out there that good positive, I get it back. And God gave me everything what I did good, I got it back. I feel like second chance, they don't know they might be in the same spot one day.
Mm-hmm.
You just didn't get caught. I feel like they just didn't get caught. It's a lot of stuff that go on. People just didn't get caught. And God said, you got to give somebody a second chance. You got to forgive in order for him to forgive you. So at the end of the day, they made a terrible mistake. That's understand. We all make mistakes. We are human. At the end of the day, I feel that they should step up, give them a second chance.
Mandatory minimums is one of the main things that can cause for someone to end up with a life sentence. We all know of the three strikes rule. We all know of different laws within Georgia that ultimately say once you've been in trouble a couple of times, which can happen for someone that is in poverty or somebody experiencing hardship, ultimately their fate is decided from early on that they will serve life in prison. A lot of stereotypes around people that are being incarcerated and serving around life sentences are people that deserve the time that they or they have got this, they brought it upon themselves. Like I was stating earlier, when you have people that have experienced physical and sexual abuse, that is a trauma when it goes untreated that actually just spirals into something else. Me myself being a victim of physical and sexual assault, I know a lot of that led to my arrest and my time of serving within prison. Not wanting to go back into that situation where I had to resort to things that happened to actually have me spend this time in prison. But when you talk about women that are serving life sentences, a lot of them are just reacting out of things that have happened to them. We really do believe that PTSD is real. And in our society, we don't believe in treatment, we don't have time for treatment, or we don't have money for treatment. And because of that, that leads us to doing other things that actually ends up with a life sentence. But we also say that a life sentence does not mean that that should be the end of someone's life. If people are saying that it is a system that's supposed to rehabilitate people, which we know that is not true, if it's a system of rehabilitation, then why is this system getting people in and having them do 30, 40 years before they are released back into society? Went to a worse situation, you're traumatizing them even further, and what we need to do is invest into people so this won't happen to people in the first place. So we can actually get people to understand that treatment is okay, and if we invest the money into that, then people will understand that that is something that will help people in our jails stay low.
I would like to share with you from Keiko Smith. Keiko says, I want to fight for my freedom, for my son who's autistic, and for my 70-year-old parents who care for him, and for my 21-year-old who has no understanding of this situation. Keiko says, I am not my crime. I am a mother who will fight for her family. Thank you for showing interest in my future and my freedom. Go, Keiko.
I like that there are so many women that feel so comfortable to be able to share their most vulnerable moments in this space, and that Women on the Rise have done so many great things for women to feel comfortable enough to be able to reach out. I do believe that this is going to become much larger than it already is, and I do believe that not only with these letters and recommendations, I think that this movement as a whole is just the beginning, and I'm glad to be a part of it.